what up, YouTube? Tim was here. Here's my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10 and 20 this week. Alright, the films turning 10, we got probably my favorite film on this list, and that is Bridesmaids. Bridesmaids is literally one of my favorite comedies in the past decade. Bridesmaids is so funny. I of course remember watching this movie in theaters when it got released. You got Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph. It, of course, was a movie that really made Melissa McCartney a star. You also had Rose Byrne was in this, Wendy McClellan-Covey, from the Goldbergs fame. You even had cameos by John Hamm. I mean, this movie is so funny. It's entertaining. Whoever knew that like a bridesmaids based comic could ever work, this movie worked out well. Harvey, of course, he went on to give us other films such as The Heat, Spy, Ghostbusters, Last Christmas. I mean, he's a pretty cool director, and I know he did a decent job with this movie. And I still wish we got a sequel, but looks like we're never gonna get it. So don't forget, I guess. All right, also turning 10, we got a priest, which stars Paul Bettany as a veteran warrior priest who breaks his sacred vow to hunt down the bloodthirsty vampires who kidnaps his niece. And you got his niece's boyfriend Hick and priestess, a former warrior, joined him on the quest. You also had Carl Urban was in this. Lily Collins was in this film. Sad to say, the movie was not so good. I mean, Paul Bettany, like he's usually always had like a questionable resume. He of course was in Mordecai. He was in that film Legion. Thank God he ended up playing Vision because he's great as Vision. But yeah, this was like one of the few films where you never really expect Paul Bettany as a legit action star, and he did his best with this movie. But sad to say, the film was not so good. So yeah. All right, now a couple of films also turning 20. We got a couple of smaller movies that are turning 20 this week. We got the film Everything Must Go, which stars Will Ferrell, who plays this longtime salesman Nick Kelsey, who is like no longer at the top of his game, and he's also an alcoholic. He loses his job and all, and he decides to actually hold a giant yard sale that turns to like a unique survival strategy. Now, this film is also based on a short story. Will Ferrell was so good in the movie. This shows that Will Ferrell could do like it's not even his typical comedy normally use that seeing Will Ferrell in. It's more like a serious tone, but he was really good in this. You also had Rebecca Hall, Michael Payne that was in this film. You even had Notorious B.I.G.'s son in this. That was pretty cool to see him pop up. Really decent little comedy. So if you guys haven't really seen Everything Must Go, give it a shot. Also turning 10, we got a movie called Hesher, which stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays this Antichrist, this anarchist who shakes things up by moving and shakes things up after moving uninvited into this garage of a chubby youth and the kid's father. I mean, you also had Natalie Portman was in this, Rainn Wilson. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was very unrecognizable in this movie. He was really good. Uh, Natalie Portman was great. Rainn Wilson was terrific. A little underrated film. It's not really going to talk about a whole lot, but it was pretty decent. All right. Also turning 20. Now, turning 20 this week, we got some interesting ones. We got, speaking of Paul Bettany, we got A Knight's Tale, which A Knight's Tale is so good. You got Heath Ledger, Mark Addy, you had Paul Bettany, Alan Tudyk, Shannon Sosaman. I mean, I can say this is one of the few films that really put Heath Ledger on the map. Although I guess it was 10 Things I Hate About You. That didn't break well. But still, Heath Ledger was terrific. I guess you say this was one of the movies that put Paul Bettany on the map for most people. It's definitely a really fun medieval based comedy. It's really hilarious. It's entertaining. I love Heath Ledger in this movie, so definitely go check out A Nice Tale if you guys haven't seen that. Alright, also turning 20, we got the horror film Ginger Snap, which is a story about two outcast sisters named Ginger and Bridget, who is like this, who in the mindless suburban town of Bailey Dawns, and so on the night of Ginger's first period, She is savagely attacked by this water creature, and she becomes pretty much like a werewolf, like some sort of creature, like a werewolf-like creature. It's a very decent horror-based film. You also had Catherine Isabel, Emily Perkins played the leads. It is a really creepy werewolf flick to watch. Of course, it was in the news recently because they are doing TV adaptation, so there's that. But if you haven't really seen Ginger Snap, give it a shot. It's really decent little horror film. All right, also turning 20, we got the not so good anime film, The Trumpet of the Swan. Now, of course, this is based on the classic children's book, and it's about like a high flying adventure where Louis, who's this mutant trumpeter to Swan, is given the gift of a trumpet and finds his voice here. It featured the voice talents of Jason Alexander, Seth Green, Reese Witherspoon, Carol Burnett, Mary Steenburgen. The animation wasn't so great. The music was alright, but yeah, probably not the best anime film of that year. Last but not least, we got the film Bread and Roses about these two Latina sisters who work as cleaners in a downtown office building and fight to the right to romance. It is led by Adrian Brody. You also had George Lopez was in this. Really decent little comedy. The two girls who played the sisters were pretty good. It's really funny. It's heartfelt. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's not really a movie that gets talked about a whole lot, but it's a really decent little flick. But anyway, let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? Obviously, the 10 years one goes to Bridesmaids, and the 20-year one. Most people probably say Knight's Tale. That's probably the most popular film on this list. But for me, the one that holds out to me the most will be Ginger Snap. That's a really cool little horror film. But anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Him Sign